Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
This afternoon at Tropicana Field, the homestand comes to a conclusion. Evan Longoria wall clings, the promotional item today. The youngsters enjoying those and doing a little redecorating inside their rooms, no doubt. The Rays and the Indians concluding their three-game series. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Rays Baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Statz. So good to have you with us. We'll be hearing from Todd Callis and Kelly Nash throughout the day as well. A lot of bright spots for the Rays in this homestand and in this series. Back-to-back shutouts. The defense has been good. And one of the really shining stars at the top of the Rays order, Desmond Jennings.
Well, Desmond Jennings brings a dynamic skill set to the Rays and to this game. And I'll tell you what, it's been on full display here in the early part of this season. Number one, he can handle the stick. This guy will show occasional power. He's done a nice job, I think, too, as far as offensively, of working some walks, working deep counts, seeing a lot of pitches. That helps him, that helps his teammates. On top of that, once he does get on base, he is a disruptive force as far as the stolen base goes. We saw 2 last night. 3 of 3 so far on the season. And then the former football star out of Bama is a tough kid. You see right there in a very clean baseball play. He had nowhere to go, lowered the shoulder, not afraid to take a hit. So he brings that certain toughness to the game. And then, oh, by the way, a tremendous defender, can cover a lot of ground, gets great jumps, takes nice routes. I'll tell you what, Desmond Jennings can do a little bit of everything and do whatever it takes to win.
Well, the Rays have thrown 2 shutouts against this Cleveland Indians ball club. And this afternoon, David Price goes to the mound as the Rays are thinking sweep. Todd Callis takes a closer look at the Rays American League Cy Young Award winner.
Price, last night honored with the American League Cy Young Award. Today he makes his second start of the 2013 season. Rays and the Indians wrap up this 3-game set, and David Price tries to continue a 19-inning scoreless streak for Rays pitchers. You know, David Price in 2009, his rookie season, made his first start at Cleveland. It was on May 25th. Struggled a little bit in that start, didn't have command, ended up giving up 5 walks in that outing. Since then, Price has been lights out against the Cleveland Indians. Lasted 5 2/3 in that first start, but in his last 5, 5-0 with a 1.29 ERA. Opponents hitting less than 150 against him. Price has been very good against this Cleveland team, and this is a Cleveland team that will be very patient this year. We caught up with David Price and asked him about the new look to the Cleveland Indians lineup.
They got a lot of power. You know, obviously they added Mark Reynolds as well. He's a big power guy. I think he hit 2 home runs off of me my last start against Baltimore last year in Baltimore, and that was, you know, he is a big swing and miss guy, but whenever he puts contact on that ball, he hits balls just as far as anybody, if not further than anybody else in baseball. So he's definitely a good addition to that team. They have guys at the top of the lineup like Michael BOURN. He's going to get on. He's going to cause trouble on the base pass, and just, you know, I feel like they had a very good offseason, and they added Swisher as well. So he's a very tough out for me. You know, and just, he swings the bat extremely well, and just, they've got a very good team.
So kind of opposite of the Orioles situation, the Rays couldn't wait to see the O's leave town as hot as they were. Now Tampa Bay hoping that Cleveland doesn't get hot before they leave town. As we have less than 3 minutes to go until the first pitch, it's David Price and Justin Masterson. Enjoy all the action on a Sunday afternoon right here on Sunsport.
Dominated the Indians lineup in the first 2 games of the series, posting back-to-back shutouts and giving up only 7 hits. Today, the Rays send their ace to the hill. David Price looks to lead Tampa Bay to a sweep. But the brooms are out as the Rays and the Indians meet in the 3rd and final game of the series. The Rays wrapping up their first homestand of the 2013 season. Winners last night 6-0. Winners Friday night 4-0. Let's take a look at the Cleveland starting lineup. The Indians again with Michael BOURN leading off as Drupal Cabrera will hit second, and Ryan Rayburn in left will bat third. Nick Swisher clean up. The DH is Mark Reynolds. Carlos Santana, the catcher. Mike Aviles is at second base with Lonnie Chisenhall at third, hitting eighth, and Drew Stubbs in right field, the ninth place hitter for Terry Francona.
Now, toeing the rubber this afternoon for the Tampa Bay Rays going to be left-hander David Price, making his second start of the season against a team that he has had a lot of success against, going over his last 5 starts, 5-0 record, ERA 1.29, looking to continue that here.
27-year-old lefty and the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner, set to make the first pitch to Michael Bourn. And we are underway. The first pitch, presented by Pinch a Penny, is in there, a strike call. Just like that, Price is out in front. Fastball, strike call, 0-2.
Well, and for Michael Bourn, there was nothing you're going to do with that pitch. A low rider, 94, right on the outside corner.
Well, every time Price pitches, the first thing I think about is where he wants to be. He wants to be better than he was last year. He wants to be the best pitcher in the major leagues. And that's what's on his mind every time he goes out there.
Well, and that's why you love him. I mean, he's not satisfied with the status quo.
That's going to be fair, just by the bag. Extra bases. Joyce tries to dig it out. It's a double for Bourn. Bourn made contact and just got it fair.
Well, and the reason he was able to make contact is David Price goes away with that fastball. You remember the last one out there was down. This one up just enough that he's able just to stick the bat head out. David Price is supplying all of the power. All Michael Bourn is trying to do is put the ball in play, and he just found a perfect spot.
So Bourn, who had the only 2 hits for Cleveland in Friday night's game, one of those a double up the right field line, doubled down the left field side this time. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, the shortstop. One ball, no strikes.
Kind of wondered coming into the start what the approach of David Price would be after the last start against the Orioles, where he went right into the mix of his pitches very early in that game. So far, 5 pitches, 5 straight fastballs.
The short, Escobar makes the play. Bourn has to remain at second.
Let's take a quick look at the Tampa Bay defense as it lines up this afternoon here at Tropicana Field. The outfield left to right, Matt Joyce, Desmond Jennings, and Sam Fold. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Yunel Escobar, Ben Zobrist, and James Loney. Jose Lobaton will be behind the plate.
Ryan Rayburn, pitch. There's a strike. Fastball. Rayburn in left field. He played right field last night. And he would be the emergency catcher for the Indians. There goes Bourn trying to steal third, and there's no throw. It's his first steal in a Cleveland uniform, and it's third base.
You know, I was just going to say that last out by David Price was big because he was able to keep Asdrubal Cabrera on the ground and not let Bourn move up a base. Michael Bourn takes it upon himself, gets a nice jump, and steals that bag rather easily.
And so here in the first inning, the Rays will pull the infield in. Rayburn is out in front. Nice pitch on the breaking ball to get him.
David Price, that's exactly what you're going for. You've got runner on third, less than 2 outs, 2 strikes. It's the time to go for it, and he threw a dandy of a curveball.
So the infield can drop back. 2 outs. And here's Nick Swisher, and he's one guy in this lineup. He and Price have really had some battles. 12 of 34 against Price with 10 walks drawn off him. Strike on the corner. Bill Miller, 14-year veteran, is calling the balls and strikes. Plate umpire out of UCLA. There's the breakout. Price and Swisher head to head. Number, that's going to be foul. 2.
Took a little something off that. I think Swisher out front hits that ball right off the nub of the bat. Now this count here, David Price firmly in control of.
Bourne doubled, stole third. 2 outs. Fly ball. Jennings on the move is there, and he puts it away. Indians out in the first. They leave a man at third. Rays are coming in to hit. Let's take a quick look at Joe Maddon's lineup. One thing has been constant about it. Desmond Jennings at the top of the order. Sam Bold, and then Ben Zobrist. Evan Longoria cleanup. James Loney, then Yunel Escobar. Matt Joyce at 7th, with Jose Lobaton 8th, and Kelly Johnson, the DH, hitting 9th.
I'm taking the mound this afternoon for the Cleveland Indians, right-hander Justin Masterson. Let's take a look at our scouting report, brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. Use infielders. This is another big body guy with a good sinker. He wants to keep that ball on the ground, traditionally has done so when he's been successful, and a different approach. Whatever he has done against the Tampa Bay Rays has not worked out very well. The numbers not very good.
First pitch to Desmond Jennings is a strike. Well, he was pretty basic in his outing against the Blue Jays. Sink the ball, the slider, and a four-seamer. Ground ball by the mound. Aviles, the second baseman, handles that. But his numbers against the Rays are not very good.
No, not at all. And it's a pretty good size right there. You see 9 starts, 1-7 record, 7.74 earned run average. If you take him just as a starting pitcher against the Rays, that ERA will pop up over 8. Is that a number of relief appearances? Lack of command has hurt him against this team. 35 walks in 49 innings as a starter.
First pitch is a strike to Sam Bold. He's coming off Tuesday's outing against the Blue Jays. Back right to Masterson. He's got the glove up there in front of his face to field it.
Let's take a quick look at the Cleveland defense as it lines up behind Justin. In the outfield, left to right, Ryan Rayburn, Michael Bourn, and Drew Stubbs. Across the infield, third to first, Lonnie Chisenhall as Drupal Cabrera, Mike Aviles, and Nick Swisher. Carlos Santana back behind the plate.
Well, here's Ben Zobrist. Talked yesterday in the Open about Ben Zobrist and the quick start he has this year. He takes a strike. He's traditionally been a little bit of a slow starter. His career average in March and April below 240. You know, we talked about Alex Cobb settling down a little bit, and that's one of the things Zobrist has talked about starting the year. He's so full of adrenaline, and he thinks that's part of the issue. Well, he's off to a great start here this year.
But you remember last year going into June, he was hitting 199. It actually dipped below 200 before really going off the last 4 months.
Base hit the other way. Zobrist, a 2-out single here in the first.
It just seems that his approach is so much simpler, too. You know, Ben Zobrist will hit the ball to all fields. He's very selective at the plate.
And he is a guy who, in the past, has tinkered with a lot of different approaches.
Yes, and you know, last year when he finally dipped below that 200 mark, he started working with Derek Shelton, said he wanted to quicken up his hands and get him around his body. Well, whatever formula they found, that's right. You make notes of that like Derek Shelton has, and so has Ben Zobrist, and they've stuck with it. It's paying off.
Evan Longoria takes a pitch too low. Evan off to a quick start. That's not unusual for him. He's up in the count, ahead 2-0.
These Rays hitters know that they're going to be able to get a pitch to hit off Justin Masterson. The key is not to chase it down in the zone. You like to obviously get one of those sinkers that stays up and flattens out. Gives you a chance to put a good swing on it.
Masterson stays close and off the plate.
And that's where he has really struggled against the Rays. Command issues, a lot of free passes, a lot of base runners, leads to more opportunities, and the Rays have cashed in.
Masterson stayed right in there off the plate and walks Longoria, pushing Zobrist up to second base. So we'll get to see James Loney now, who's again hitting behind Longoria. He's behind him in last night's game. Loney off to a 286 start. Strike one on the foul ball.
Justin Masterson, one of those pitchers that has made the transition from the bullpen to the starter, became a full-time starter in 2010. Not always an easy transition, where out of the bullpen you may go through the lineup one time, face each guy one time. Now as a starter, you're expected to get them out, go through that lineup probably 3 times, sometimes 4.
Stays high.
These hitters are so proficient at being able to read what a pitcher's trying to do to them, that if you don't switch up your sequences and change your approach, sometimes from at-bat to at-bat, it'll come back and bite you in a big way.
Only a career .294 hitter against right-handed pitching. He's up on the count 2-1. And Masterson still, we mentioned that he's pretty basic in his start against Toronto, but that's pretty much the way he pitches. He does not have a wide arsenal of pitches.
No, it's just you have to try and use them different ways. You know, mix your selection, maybe first pitch slider here and there. Do something to change it up, because if the approach stays the same, and we saw that last year with his numbers as he goes through the lineup, they get higher and higher, and when he gets to about that 60 pitch mark, same thing. hitters will start to dial you up.
Loney sitting at a good count here with 2 men on and 2 men out. And ball 4 is inside. The bases are going to be loaded.
Oh, sharp eyes here. James Loney. Evan Longoria drawing 2 out walks after the single by Zobrist. Well, the walks in the first inning yesterday led to the Rays' first run, 4 of them in a row.
So Yunel Escobar is up here with a chance to do some damage in the first for the Rays. Escobar 3 out of 18 so far this year. And a slider is in there for a strike. Well, he's trying to break that. Rays 0 for 7 as a team, with the bases loaded so far this year. He's behind in the count. 0-2.
Oh, so what does he do after 2 straight walks, 2 nasty pitches to Escobar to put him down in the count 0-2? Slowing it up and using the outside corner with the breaking stuff, and then a nice sinker down and in. After those 2 pitches, you've really opened up the plate all over the place. You can try to go further in. You can try to sweep something back out away.
And he sweeps it away and strikes him out. Escobar out on strikes. The Rays will leave him loaded. We've gone through an inning scoreless. Tampa Bay Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by Hyundai. Let's Go sales event through April 30th. The Tampa Bay Times, the official newspaper of the Rays and their fans. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Rays winners in the first 2 games of the series. We have David Price on the hill against Cleveland this afternoon, and Mark Reynolds, the designated hitter, steps in. Well, Price gave up the 2-base hit to Bourne in the first. He was stranded. Reynolds, then Santana, and Avila's due in this inning. 2-0. If you saw the little interview that Todd Callis had with David Price, talking about this Cleveland club and some of the hitters in their lineup, and Reynolds is just 3 for 22 against Price, but 2 of those hits are home runs, and that's the first place where Price went. Pitchers don't forget things like that. And he misses on this pitch and walks Reynolds.
Yeah, you don't remember the 19 times you've gotten him out. You remember the 2 times that he took you over the fence, and it looked like that's exactly how David Price pitched him. 4 straight.
So for the second consecutive inning, the Indians have the leadoff hitter aboard. Carlos Santana, the catcher, prepares to hit. Foul back. Santana, 7 hits in the early part of the year. 3 of those for extra bases, including 1 home run. Two strikes the count. There's Jim Hickey, the Rays pitching coach. And he'll be joining us in the bottom of the 4th inning of this game. Reynolds has walked. Price coming off the outing opening day against Baltimore. Ground ball. Escobar can't get there. It skips to his left and just out of his reach. Reynolds advances to second. Escobar was shading Santana a little bit. The Rays defense had him shaded the pull a little bit.
A little bit of a hole right there, and Santana able to find it. You're right. Escobar pulled over in the hole. A game effort just off the top of his glove. Leads with 2 aboard here and nobody out. That's the one thing. It was an off-speed pitch, so you figure Santana got to be out in front. Pull that ball over in the hole, but he was able to keep it up the middle.
Ball, no strikes to Mike Aviles. Aviles playing second base. Jason Kipnis getting the day off against Price. Tap to short, deep short, out at second, no play at first. Ball not hit hard enough to give the Rays the opportunity to get 2. Reynolds advances to third. Aviles reaches on a fielder's choice. Santana's the first out of the inning.
Just no speed on that ball coming off the bat, and forced Escobar to move into the hole. Combination of those factors. Just the 1 out.
Lonnie Chisenhall, the young third baseman. First pitch fastball is wide. Rays and the Indians in the second inning here. There's a strike around 94, and it's 1-1. Breaks from first. The pitch popped up. Lobaton scrambling for it, but could not get there. And with the runner off first, Aviles breaking, Price immediately started to break toward that foul ball because he's thinking double play possibility. Lobaton took him a little while to locate it, and it was not hit that high into the air to begin with.
Yeah, just right out no man's land. Nice idea by David Price going back to back on the fastballs in to keep Chisenhall honest. He got that one right in on the thumbs, just not able to get an out of it.
Holds the count right where it is. Up in Toronto, looked to be a really good pitching matchup. John Lester and R.A. Dickey, but the Red Sox scored 5 in the first. They're hitting in the 4th inning, leading 7-0. Out of play, a foul ball.
This is a situation here you'd like to see David Price with the count 1 and 2 try to climb the ladder with that plus fastball. Chisenhall has fouled off a nice fastball away and the breaking ball.
And an eye on Aviles at first. Again over there, and he's back in. Runner goes, a pitch, fair ball, and now they have a man caught. Reynolds between third and home. Price will put the tag on him. He was in the rundown long enough for Aviles to wind up at third. So the Rays get the out on that little tap. Chisenhall had the ball called fair.
And a nice job here right away by Jose Lobaton going out and getting that ball right away. That allowed the play to happen. And the Rays execute. Big out there catching Mark Reynolds off a third. If Jose Lobaton sits back a little bit, there's a chance that ball ends up hitting and rolling back foul, but he was aggressive in going out and getting that ball right away.
Terry Francona out there trying to get a little clarification from Bill Miller on the fair call.
Well, it was very close. This ball running in, you'd see it starts out behind the plate straight down, but then Lobaton goes right out and gets it. And that's right there on the border. Easy call for Miller. He's standing right there.
So it's still first and third. New hitter Drew Stubbs. 2 outs now. Strike one. Francona looking at the first 2 games of this series and the Rays pitching and the way the Indians have swung the bats. His take right now is that if his club gets a chance to score, they'd better cash in, because he's not anticipating a lot of scoring opportunities in the series against Rays pitching.
He hasn't seen any since the plane landed.
It's 1-1 now.
And now you're facing the Rays ace. You've already been shut out 2 games in a row, and you're right. They've had a couple of chances. They got Michael BOURN to third with 1 out in the first. David Price came back and got a big strikeout, able to get out of that inning.
Well, in the game last night, they finished with 5 hits. They had Swisher at one point at third base in the 2nd inning in scoring position. Rayburn at third in the 3rd. And then they got Kipnis to 2nd in the 9th. That's the only time they had men in scoring position last night. Breaking ball misses. It's 2-1. And it was similar to that the first few innings of the game here Friday night. Richard BOURN got the 3rd today, and he did the same on Friday in the 1st. A couple other opportunities then, but that's been it.
And that was all early, because you remember that was the game that Matt Moore gave up just the 2 hits in the bullpen through 3 perfect innings, retired the last 17 men of that ball game. They came in today, Indians hitters came into today 7 for 58 off Rays pitching.
And a base hit into right field off a 3-1 fastball. The run scores. Chisenhall goes to third. beats the throw, and Stubbs drives in the run.
Well, on the pitch that's away from you, when it's elevated, that gives you your best chance for solid contact, and that is what happened there. Not only is it a 3-1 count, but Stubbs gets the fastball. Look where it's at. That's just elevated. It's just a straight swing out away from you. Let the velocity do the work.
So Stubbs drives in the first run of this game and the first run of the series for Cleveland. At the top of the order, Michael BOURN. Chopped to first. Loney has it. Unassisted down there to retire the side. Cleveland gets a run. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Indians. One to nothing. Rays coming in to hit. Let's check in with Kelly Nash right now. Hi, Kelly.
Thanks, Dwayne. Now, fans, if you're into this Twitter thing, which you know I'm all over, you're going to love our brand new page called Game Connect. Go to foxsportsflorida.com/Rays, and on the left, you'll see a link for Game Connect. Once you get to the webpage, you're going to love it. Stats on the left, tweeting on the right. You can find out pitching counts, tweets from the Rays, tweets from the Indians. It's all very well organized. A lot of great interaction. I'm on there now, so let me know what you think of it. You can tweet me at SunSportsRays.
Well, how about this? Thank you, Kelly, for that. But a foul ball off Santana. And because of the collision last night, they're a little shorthanded in the catching situation. Lou Marson still pretty sore and stiff upper body in the neck area, and Santana took that one off the right hand. Look at this. He's trying to protect it.
Boy, it just caught the tip of his toe and then ricocheted right off that hand. Those catchers will do that. They hide that throwing hand because of instances just like that behind their right leg, and it was dangling just far enough down that right off the top of the shoe and right off his thumb.
Well, Lou Marson is obviously not in the lineup, and they would they're still not sure. They don't want to DL him. It gets to be kind of complicated. They're going home to play their home opener, and they're not sure what the weather's going to be. And if they DL him, and maybe they're weathered out of 2 games, and maybe the 3rd day he's fine to play, then kind of caught in that situation. Meanwhile, their 3rd catcher would be Rayburn, who's in the lineup. Ryan Rayburn in left field. They have Jan Gomes in the minor leagues. They could call him up, but they're not sure what to do. And we take a look at what happened last night on that play at the plate with Lou Marson.
That was not a glancing blow.
And Marson himself, you know, after the game, when Jennings talked about it, he said he had no place to go. It was a high chopper, and he was coming down the line.
Well, that's exactly right. And even Lou Marson said, look, I had the plate blocked pretty well. There was no other choice for him than to do what he did.
Joyce is out on strikes. And if you notice where Marson was, he was well out in front of the plate.
He was. I mean, he had the plate. You talk about blocking a plate. That's perfectly done. He's got inside, outside taken. He's out in front of the plate, so there's no chance that Desmond's going to sneak a leg by him. But that's what it will lead to. And that was full contact, almost instantaneous contact. It's amazing that he was actually able to hold on to that ball and record the out.
So Lobaton takes the ball. And Marson said afterwards again that there was nothing wrong with what Jennings did. He was blocking the plate. Jennings had no place to go, and that's what occurs.
I think catchers, they get upset when, you know, they give you a path. They may be up kind of in front of the plate, and if you're going to go up there and get them, then there's maybe an agenda. But Lou Marson gave Desmond no choice. And that's when Justin Masterson can get nasty. That frisbee slider right there, he starts Jose Lobaton, that ball on the outer half, and it almost ran behind him. And still get the swing.
Yeah, that's one of those pitches where you're swinging at it, and then you hope it doesn't hit you in the knee.
You know, I've seen Byung-Hyun Kim, who obviously came from a much lower angle, throw a slider and get Bobby Abreu to swing through it and hit him in the chest. I mean, hit him in the chest on a full swing. There you go.
Count is full to Lobaton. Reaching and chops it. Swisher. Masterson covers. So 2 up, 2 down.
On this afternoon's game and all season long, Tires Plus will donate $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports.
Well, here's Kelly Johnson, the DH. Finally got that first home run out of the way in last night's game. 1-0. Started in left field last night. Second base the game before. One and one. Two. Johnson started the Wednesday game in the Baltimore series at first base and back to DH in this game. And in this game 6, Joe Madden using his 6th different lineup. Last night's home run right down the line with plenty to spare.
Kelly Johnson will do that with that uppercut swing. He'll run into some.
He strikes out here. 1, 2, 3. We're at the end of 2. 1-0 Cleveland.
Ball game right beforehand. Price was awarded the 2012 American League Cy Young Award. Quite an honor for David, outdueling Justin Verlander in a close vote. And Price said it's not just about him, but this is for the whole community.
I don't look at it as it being for me. You know, this is for the fans. You know, this is a chance for them to come out and to be a part of this ceremony and to get a figurine and stuff like that. You know, this is something I feel like the Rays have. They obviously, you know, they did it for me and to appreciate, you know, what we were able to accomplish last year as a team and being able to win that Cy Young Award. But I think more or less it's really for the fans, and that's the way it should be.
Well, David Price, as you guys mentioned, trying to become one of the elite pitchers, already right there amongst the best and getting the Cy Young Award yesterday, gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Todd. Todd called us gentlemen, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that.
It's Sunday.
Just 1 ball, 2 strikes to Asdrubal Cabrera. Rayburn and then Swisher against David Price. Fouls the pitch up and out over the plate. Indians scored in the second inning. Drew Stubbs singled home a run. Price with a little extra on the fastball, but a little too close. Red Sox have added a run. It's 8-0. They're in the top of the 5th. Middlebrooks has hit another home run. That's his second of the game for Boston. Rays on this coming road trip will make a stop in Boston. They open in Texas, Boston, and Baltimore. So not an easy road trip. There's ball 4. And for the 3rd consecutive inning, the Indians have the leadoff hitter on base against Price.
And that was a good at bat there by Asdrubal Cabrera. He was down on the count 1-2. Able to lay off the fastball in, the breaking ball that was down. Give the Indians another leadoff hitter. Well, that's tough too for the pitcher sometimes, because when the leadoff guy or someone early in each inning is getting on base, you never really get into a good rhythm because you're constantly floating between wind up and stretch, wind up and stretch.
1 strike to Rayburn. Inside, says Bill Miller.
I'll tell you the other thing that it does is when you're each inning having to go to the stretch right away after 4 or 5 pitches, all of a sudden the intensity of the pitches start to climb. You start accumulating more and more of those. And it can sap you as the game goes on.
Yeah, when you look at the pitch breakdown, you know, here's Michael Bourn on the 4th pitch of the game, doubled. Then a 4-pitch walk to Reynolds to open the 2nd. And then 3-2, and it turned out to be a 7-pitch at bat for Cabrera, who walked. But he's right out of the windup and back into the stretch. Off the plate outside this time, 2-1.
Well, and Jose Lobaton was really out there. Look how far he is. I mean, he's actually off the plate a good measure. That ball ends up being closer, but still. Miller is not going to allow that.
He's out there again off the plate. Just about the same spot, 3-1.
Yeah, just a little early on the release point of that changeup. Didn't quite get his hand out in front. Well, that's all it takes. I mean, you're off by a fraction on the mound. It becomes 6-8 inches by the time that ball gets to home plate. Very small margin for error.
And ball 4. So back-to-back walks. Price has walked 3 in this game.
Well, get in on the action with exclusive on-field seating in the Papa John's bullpen box. Available dates are going fast. So act now to make your group reservation behind the Rays bullpen by calling 855-GROUP-TB, or you can go online at raysbaseball.com.
Well, 2 men on with nobody out. Well, this will give us a little something extra to chat with Jim Hickey about. It's a line of inquiry that Hickey would prefer not to even have to go into. But here we are. Walk, 2 men on, nobody out.
Yeah, the command for David Price just not there right now. Yeah, that was something he struggled with in his first start. He really battled to keep that to just 2 runs in 6 innings. It really did a nice job of battling, but wasn't as sharp as we've normally see David Price. And certainly in the early going here today, the sharpness not quite there.
Well, he faces Nick Swisher, a guy against whom it has been a challenge. And he's quickly up on him. 2 strikes. He went 0-2 with him in the first and got him on a fly ball. Pitches right on the nose against the Orioles Tuesday. Stays wide.
And I mean had to be just wide, because good change up here by Price. Good sell job. Nick Swisher, I don't know how you lay off that pitch, and it could have almost been called too.
That one, fastball in.
Well, you go with that changeup away, and you're hoping to get him out in front. Maybe you pick up the strikeout, or maybe he rolls over and you get a double play ball. And then all of a sudden, with the pitch in, you're looking to surprise him. 1-2 count. You got him leaning out there, give him a nice look at a pitch that was close, and then try to boom, jam one in there. That one was just a little bit off.
Comes in again. Doubled up on the fastball and about the same spot, just off the plate.
Now, and at times you have to do that. You can't be so predictable that it's one fastball in and then you go back out away. So David Price with a couple of back-to-back fastballs in there. Good idea. Just in off. And Nick Swisher showing a tremendous amount of discipline after being down 0-2 to lay off some close pitches.
And a liner to left, caught by Joyce. And the runners have to hold at first and second.
Well, David Price, you know, the full count changeup after the back-to-back walks and almost losing Swisher. That's a pretty gutsy pitch. And Nick Swisher put a good swing on it, but right out there at Matt Joyce.
Well, you know what that is a real compliment to Swisher's at bat.
Yes.
To have that 3-2 changeup thrown to him.
Well, think about that 0-2. And the changeup that just missed to go to 1-2. Then 2 heaters in. Talked about his success off of David Price.
Now Mark Reynolds. And a fastball strike.
Mark Reynolds, he loves to hunt the fastball. He wants to get extension, likes the ball out over the plate. Can handle the ball down.
Walks to Cabrera and Rayburn, setting up this Cleveland threat. Fly ball back into straightaway center. Jennings will have to cover a lot of ground, and that ball is gone. Home run to dead center, disappearing over the 404 marker. It's a 3-run home run for Mark Reynolds, and Cleveland opens a 4-0 lead.
Mark Reynolds got a breaking ball out over the plate where he could get some extension, and he did a nice job of staying on that pitch. See, started his stride a little bit early, but he kept his hands back. Get a good view of it here. There he goes, but look where the hands stayed. And then you can see how powerful he is as he brings him through the zone and catches backspin, and that ball just carries and carries and carries.
That's only his 4th career hit off Price, but 3 of them have been home runs. Santana takes a strike. One ball, 1 strike. Four runs, 4 hits off David Price. He walked 2 men in front of the home run in the 3rd inning. Walked 3 in this outing. And a base hit headed into center. Santana takes a fastball right back through the middle.
Santana got the count in his favor. Got to give himself a chance. Got a big swing. Shoots the middle of the field once again. This is going to bring pitching coach Jim Hickey out to the mound. Give David a little bit of a breather. Try to recalibrate.
Cleveland opened the scoring in the 2nd inning when Drew Stubbs got ahead in the count and then singled home Aviles. Two walks to open this inning presented a problem.
Well, and it always will. Free base runners, especially early in an inning. And we've seen David Price out of the stretch the majority of this game, and then the breaking ball that finds its way to the middle of the plate and right into the swing path of Mark Reynolds.
Now a ground ball off the bat of Aviles. Escobar will get 1 at second. The throw to first not going to be in time. So Aviles reaches on a fielder's choice, and again the fact that he didn't hit the ball overly hard made it tough for the Rays to even think about a double play. They tried it, but the throw to first not in time. Lonnie Chisenhall. Into center, slicing away from Jennings, but he's there and makes the catch to retire Cleveland. 3 on the board for the Indians in the 3rd. They lead 4-0. H.H. Gregg. David Price with 59 pitches through 3. That was a 26-pitch third. And the 2 leadoff walks set up. Turned out to be a 3-run inning on the home run by Mark Reynolds. Desmond Jennings shortens on the bat. Tracks that pitch low. Ball, no strikes. Two and 0.
The Rays feel that they're going to be able to have some chances off of Justin Masterson based on past success.
2 and 1.
The fact that they find themselves in a 4-run hole, they need base runners. Better way to start that than Desmond Jennings at the top of the order.
Desmond has been working counts extremely well in the early part of this year. And he draws the walk. It's 3 walks given up by Masterson. And the Rays, who had the bases loaded in the first and left them all of that after 2 outs, get a leadoff walk here in the third.
A little turnabout put Justin Masterson right in to the stretch. Got to try to chip away, still early in the ball game. Remember, you still have David Price pitching for you. He can find it in a hurry, get on a nice little run. Gotta make something happen here.
Ground ball down to first. Swisher steps on the bag. The tag is in order, and Jennings is out. Cabrera tags him out at second base.
Well, that ball was hit hard right to Nick Swisher, who's obviously holding Desmond Jennings on. He comes off the bag, gets a hot shot, immediately steps on the bag, and then Desmond Jennings need to slide right here. He goes in slowing up a little bit and standing up, and it gives Asdrubal Cabrera a huge target to try and tag. Swisher gets the throw behind him, but boy, oh boy, without sliding, Cabrera could just stand and olay the tag, and that's exactly what he does. Doesn't have to reach down, find the midsection, 2 outs.
Good Zobrist. Pitch is outside. If he goes in sliding, it's a completely different presentation of the play to the umpire, and you might get the call. If you go in standing, and it was close the way it was. Very close, but the presentation's not such that you're going to get much of a break on a call.
Not at all. And you've got Asdrubal Cabrera standing up inside of the baseline. If you're sliding, he's got to now reach, not only reach down, but he's going to have to head his body down there. That's going to take a little bit of time rather than just tagging straight out in front of you.
Liner toward left center field, and Zobrist is on for the second time. Rayburn with the pickup. Big turn, and Ben hangs on. So he's 2 for 2.
Boy, a carbon copy of his last at bat. Get the ball, shoot it the other way. Nicely done by Ben. That ball, a good location on the plate. Ben handles it well.
Evan Longoria with a 2-out chance. He's trailed 4-0. Back to third. Deep. Chisenhall's throw to first in time. And the Rays are finished in the third inning. They leave a man. We go to the fourth. 4-0 Cleveland.
been all Indians, 4-0 lead over the Rays. Well, here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. That man right there, Orestes Destrada, will be joined for the first time this season by Barry LeBrock from the Fox Studios. Rays will be looking to carry over on last year's road success as they head out for a long stretch on the road. And I'll have something to break down at some point.
Drew Stubbs takes the pitch outside. We got a whole plane ride to figure that one out.
Yes, we do. Come up with something juicy.
Stubbs fouls it away. Stubbs drove in the first run of this game and this series for Cleveland. He singled home Mike Aviles in the second inning of this game. Stubbs has power. He also can run. He's an outstanding outfielder. Tap to third. Longoria's quick throw, close, just got it. A little tapper toward third, and Stubbs get down the line, made it very close.
Yeah, you've got to jump on your horse in a hurry if you're Evan Longoria charging this ball, because you're right, Stubbs can run. Made that a very close play. Gets out of the box clean. Evan's so good at charging the ball, glove and bare hand.
A strike to Michael Bourn. Strikes the count. Bourn is out on strikes. Chase the breaking ball. 2 outs. And down in that K9 section, approving of the strikeout, the second of the day. Both have come on the breaking ball.
Well, and he throws that spike curveball, throws it hard. It's got good tilt to it. It's become a real good pitch for David.
Cabrera pounds it in at the feet of Lobaton and the plate umpire Bill Miller.
Well, the charge for David right now is to hold this Cleveland Indian ball club to just the 4 runs. Can't allow him to stretch that lead out anymore. You got to try to find some combination that works. Give your offense a chance.
Pitch in on him, pops him up. Loney right there, and it's a 1-2-3 inning, a little more like it right there. And we'll chat with Jim Hickey about all that when we return. Homestand in the series against the Indians with David Price on the hill. And we're privileged to have Jim Hickey, the Rays pitching coach, join us. And Jim, we appreciate the time here in the middle of this game as you keep an eye on David Price, the top of the fourth, a little more of what you're looking for, I would think.
Well, you know, the trouble he's run into is not the 3-run home run obviously hurt, but it's the walks prior to that and the walk to open up the second inning as well. So last inning, obviously, he cleaned that up a little bit as far as the strike throwing. He was really, really good in the first inning, too. So it was a little bit of a surprise that he lost the strike zone like he did in those middle 2 innings.
Hey, Jim, is that something that you address with David as he comes off the field? Or is he, you know, the pitcher that's reached the level of he already gets it? He doesn't have to hear anything. He understands what went wrong and what needs to be fixed.
Yeah, he definitely gets it, but I think they need to be reminded every once in a while as well. And of course, no one's going out there looking to walk the leadoff man, you know, or walk a couple of guys in front of a big home run hitter like you know, Reynolds is, a guy with that kind of power. It just does happen, and I think he gets to the point sometimes too where he feels like he can do almost anything that he wants. You know, so here comes maybe a 3-1 pitch that you know, versus a 94, 95 mile an hour fastball down in the strike zone. It's something a little bit more creative when maybe it doesn't have to be.
If we could digress just a moment from Price, and we'll get back to him, but one of the things that you and Joe Madden have talked about a lot coming out of spring training is getting more innings out of the starters, and we have certainly seen that even last night with Alex Cobb. You have to feel good about that, I would imagine.
Well, I do feel good about what's happened so far this year. I also don't really feel like we have to put any type of pressure on these guys to get more innings out of them. I think if they take the natural next step, Matt Moore does that, a Jeremy Hellickson does that, and Alex Cobb does that, all of a sudden you're looking at an extra 30, 35, 45 innings out of the starting rotation, you know, where you kind of take care of that void left by, you know, James Shields in the way that he used to pitch 220 to 230 innings every year. And I think you see kind of what that happening right now.
Well, Jim, switching gears here, you know, being a pitching coach is not easy because, you know, you obviously have your own core principles, principles, pitching philosophy, all of those things that you apply to the group. But how in the world do you have to go about applying them individually to each guy so that they get the message?
Well, I think that's part of the biggest trick right there is the communication between each individual guy. You know, everybody, you're trying to get them on the same page, you know, no matter how simple it is, throw strikes, work quick, change speeds, whatever it may be. But to just kind of get that message across to each individual guy, that's a little bit more of the challenge. But we've got a great group of guys, and we've got a very close group of guys too. So a lot of that conversation takes place between them as well, where I don't have to, you know, sit there and boom, 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 pound on these guys and try to get that same message across all the time. So it's worked out well.
Well, Jim, we certainly appreciate your time here. You've done such a great job here and before coming here in Houston. I think it's unanimous up here. One of the most recognized in terms of the great job you've done as pitching coaches, and you're pretty good on the air too. So thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that 2-0 unanimous vote, and I think you both are underappreciated as well.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, we'll see you.
Okay. Loney's fouled out to third. Escobar has struck out swinging, and Matt Joyce up here against Justin Masterson. So 2 gone with the bases empty for the Rays. They haven't been able to get much going here against this big right-hander. Well, it is. I think those sentiments about Jim Hickey are absolutely heartfelt. I think when you look at what he dealt with in Houston, he had some superstar pitchers, some young pitchers there, a whole bevy of young pitchers to develop here. He's been outstanding.
Well, and that's what makes him so good is his ability to relate to the superstars and all the way to the rookies.
A 1, 2, 3, 4th, still 4-0. Front of the Rays, Cleveland coming in to hit in the 5th inning. And it's now time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. You know, we're talking about Rays pitchers going deeper into games, and one of the ways they do that is being backed up by outstanding defense, and the Rays off to a great start defensively. No errors now in 5+ games, and what that does for these starting pitchers is save pitches, that they don't have to get 4 or 5 outs in a particular inning, and that allows them the opportunity to go deeper into games as well.
Well, that was made a priority over the winter, because this is a team that's been built on pitching and defense. They led the American League in errors last year with 114. Well, they've turned it around in a big way, and it's not just even about them making the plays that they're supposed to make. They're going to make all those routine plays, but they're so athletic at so many positions that they have great range and cover more ground than most other teams can.
Ryan Rayburn leads it off with a count of 1-1, and he hits one back toward the left field corner. Joyce going back, and that ball is going to be off the wall and away from him. He'll have to track it on the warning track. Big turn at second by Rayburn, and he stops at second with a double. Well, it appeared for a moment Rayburn might be able to get that one out over the low wall. And fortunately for the Rays, it stayed in.
Well, he got that right off the end of the bat. The crack was not that pure contact, but he still did get a lot of carry and lift. And he made a bid. That was close.
See David Price tracking it. Oh, that's a great shot. Price, as he watches the flight of that baseball, and just below that yellow line on the low wall. Nick Swisher. Pitch inside. So 6 hits. Well, the Indians, who struggled to even have scoring opportunities in the first 2 games, have been pretty proficient at it here so far this afternoon. In 4 of the 5 innings, they put the leadoff man on base. And every time that leadoff man has managed to get into scoring position, this time on a double as Michael BOURN doubled to open the first, then leadoff walks in the 2nd and 3rd innings. That leadoff man on base, you're playing with fire.
And you're forcing David Price to work very, very hard each and every inning. Very taxing.
2-1.
You know, what ends up happening too is when you give up a run or two and you fall behind in the score, then all of a sudden when these guys get on base, every pitch becomes max effort. And you can hear David Price grunting up here.
Hopper into right. Sanford is there. It's the first out in the 5th inning.
Well, this is one of those outings once again where David Price just needs to battle and find a way to get as deep as he can into the game and give the Rays chances to come back offensively. That was a nice out there on a weak fly ball to right field, not allowing that runner at second to advance.
Now Mark Reynolds, who has averaged 30 home runs a year since 2007. He has walked and homered in this game. And there's a strike. I thought Jim Hickey was rather diplomatic about the pitch selection in some cases for Price.
Yes, he was, and I think that that's the one area that David Price can continue to clean up, and that will allow him to make those steps to the next level. You know, you wonder how many levels more he can go up, but David Price has said to himself, I believe that I can be better, and I think that that's one of the ways You know, sometimes he gets a little bit too tricky when he doesn't need to. He's got tremendous stuff. He's got a good breaking ball. He's got an explosive fastball and a tremendous changeup. But there are times that he will use sequences that he doesn't really need to.
He's ahead of Reynolds. Fastball right there, and it's 1-2.
Well, that's the one area that you can go after. Mark Reynolds is up in the zone with good power fastballs. He will chase up above. But David Price so often is down, down, down in the zone. That's what makes him so effective, but he's able to get that one right up by the letters.
And he got him right back with a fastball and strikes him out.
You know, those aren't easy pitches to make. We've talked before about how you're as a pitcher, you're programmed to be down in the zone all the time, and then all of a sudden you got to change those sights and bring it up. And David able to do that the last two, and you see Reynolds will continue to chase that pitch up there and has a hard time handling it.
Rayburn, after the leadoff double, remains at second. Now with 2 outs. Here's Carlos Santana. It's a strike. Starting Santana with the breaking stuff. Santana 18 home runs last year with 76 runs batted in. Range of velocity from 78 to the mid-90s. It's in there at the knees.
Good fastball there by David on the inner half. Going 94 miles an hour, and he just spots that up well.
Working here in the 5th, a little over 80 pitches. Boston has opened a 10-0 lead in Toronto. The Toronto fans have been booing John Farrell up there. Farrell might be feeling a little better about things. Ground ball by third toward the corner. Rayburn scores. Santana heads to second, and he's in with a double. That makes it 5-0. Santana got it by the diving Longoria, and he is 3 for 3.
Well, good 2-out hitting again. Santana, that's something that plagued the Rays in their opening series against the Orioles. 2-out runs. This one just catches too much plate. Santana able to whistle it right by Evan. Not able to get that glove there in time. That ball was hit extremely hard. The Indians played another run.
So it's a 5-run game here in the 5th. Mike Aviles. Strike one. Will Middlebrooks has hit his 3rd home run in that game. He also has a double. He's 4 for 4. Boston leading Toronto. Top of the 7th, 10-0. 2 strikes the count on Aviles.
Big John Farrell minds those boos today. The way his team's come out of the gate, 5 in the 1st, and they continue to pile on.
Close. Farrell leaving Toronto to manage Boston. To be traded away, as it turns out, and the fans and the local Toronto media didn't take kindly to that, and he has been vilified in Toronto. Check. C.B. Buckner saying he held up.
Well, that was very, very close. A good curveball here. Great view. Ring him.
Ground ball. Backhanded by Escobar. And a look to third, but still on the bag, Santana. They could not catch him rounding it. And the Phillies has an infield hit.
Well, that play right there was conceded by Escobar as soon as he spun to the inside. That was a tough play to get to in the hole. Aviles once again pulling one over in the hole. This one a little bit more on it, but once you take that inside turn like that, there's no way he was going to be able to get enough on the throw. Hoping to get Santana with a wide turn to third.
Third baseman Lonnie Chisenhall. It's inside. 3 hits in this inning. First and third. 2 outs with a run home. Two ball, no strike count. Again to be a long inning for Price. Way behind the third baseman. There's a strike. 3-1.
He's up over 90 pitches now. We've talked about the fact that most innings, 4 out of 5, he's been in the stretch immediately. A lot of high intensity pitches. They take a toll. The sharpness that wasn't there at the beginning continues to slide.
25th pitch of the inning. Hit deep to right, and that baby's gone. A 3-1 pitch, fastball, and Chisenhall turns it around. A 3-run blast for the young third baseman for the Cleveland Indians. The Indians make it a 4-run inning and an 8-0 game.
Well, you got the count in your favor. Looking for one pitch. That's the fastball, and he gets it on the inner half, and a nice swing by Chisenhall. You know, he's battled David Price in some previous at-bats in this ball game and done a nice job of staying on an assortment of pitches. And this one he gets right in the wheelhouse and drives it out of the park.
He had some injury issues last year, divided time between AAA and the big leagues, and it's just unloaded against David Price. 1 strike to count to Stubbs. Drew Stubbs singled in the first run of this game, and there's a base hit. Jennings over to make the pickup. It's 4 straight hits and 5 in the inning.
Well, that was a backdoor cutter that just worked itself out over the plate, where Drew Stubbs could get good extension with his swing and just shoot the middle of the field.
It's Jamie Wright up in the bullpen. BOURN chops it to the right side. Zobrist makes the toss. 8 men come to the plate. 4-run score capped on a 3-run home run by Chisenhall, and it's 8-0 Cleveland. A summary: the Cleveland Indians pretty much dominating. Drew Stubbs drove in the first run and the second. 3-run home run by Mark Reynolds in the third. Then they put 4 up in the fifth. Lobotone leads off the bottom of the fifth inning. Takes a strike. Well, R.A. Dickey had a tough time pitching today for the Toronto Blue Jays. Dickey last year winning the National League Cy Young Award, and David Price having a difficult afternoon here against Cleveland. Giving up 8 runs today, 10 hits. Lobotone, the 2-2 count against Justin Masterson. Strike 3 call. Lobotone thought he had drawn the walk, and Bill Miller says he's out on strikes.
Well, that ball was definitely over the plate, but elevated. And I'll tell you what, that maybe at the top of the strike zone. Have not seen this pitch called very often. Let's see where it ends up. Oh, right across the letters.
Strike to Kelly Johnson. Johnson pops up, breaking ball. Chisenhall handles that, 2 gone. Dickey pitched 4 2/3 today, gave up 8 runs, 7 earned on 10 hits with a couple walks and 5 strikeouts. Price has given up 8 runs and 10 hits. Desmond Jennings, that's a first pitch strike. Masterson only 1 career win against the Rays. 1-7 overall and 1-6 as a starter. He's got a big lead right now. Indians got him from Boston. It's part of the Victor Martinez deal back in 2009.
They were the ones that determined that Justin Masterson was to try and become a starting pitcher, so they got him from Boston. Good size, forget enough stamina. He made that transition in 2010 and hasn't looked back.
Given the Rays only 2 hits today, he has walked a few hitters. Down to short, sharply hit, picked by Cabrera, and the Rays are up and down 1-2-3. On to the 6th inning, 8-0 Cleveland. lead here over the Rays through the front 5. We're headed into the 6th inning. Right now, we're going to check in with Kelly Nash. Kelly?
6 games in so far, Rays fans. I want to know what you think of the season so far in today's Twitter poll fan question. What are your initial impressions of the Rays this season? Tweet me, hashtag TB1 for more optimistic than opening day, TB2 for same as opening day, or TB3 for more concerned than opening day. You know where to find me at Sun Sports Rays.
The Rays dropped 2 out of 3 to Baltimore. They've taken the first 2 games from the Indians, and they're down 8-0. As Cleveland comes into bat against Jamie Wright here in the 6th. Hugo Cabrera misses the first one. Strike 1.
Jamie Wright, the veteran, comes on for the 3rd time this season.
One ball, 1 strike. Price worked 5, gave up 10 hits, 8 runs, a couple of home runs, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. He made 96 pitches. Wright made 2 appearances in the opening series. Rayburn next, and then Swisher. Loney up with it, right off the mound to cover. That's out number 1.
Well, share your experience as a Rays fan. Has something magical ever happened to you while watching a Rays game? We want to hear about it. Can't wait to hear about it. Visit RaysBaseball.com/welcome home and tell us your story.
Ryan Rayburn. Ball, no strikes. Rayburn has scored 2 of the 8 Cleveland runs. He walked and scored in the 3rd, and then led off the 5th with a double. And scored the first of 4 runs in that inning. David Price charged with the 8 runs. He has given up more than 8 runs in a game before. That was to the Phillies in June of 2009, but they were not all earned. High fly ball, and Joyce will take care of that. 2 outs, and let's check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, the Rays about to be road warriors for about the next month. They are embarking on an 11-day, 10-game road trip. Beginning right after this one today, you see the 3 in Texas, the off day in Boston, 4 with the Red Sox, including that marathon day, the Monday morning game, then 3 in Baltimore. Back home for 6, then they're on the road for another 10. Guys, if you count the 2 off days while on the road, 22 of the next 28 days away from home. I just called and canceled my cable. Back to you.
I mean, he's on top of everything. Yeah. You talk about managing a life, a very busy life. And he's saving a few bucks on the cable bill.
I'd probably hit you with the charges to reconnect when he gets back. It may not be worth it, TK.
Strike 2 to Swisher. Well, while the Rays hit the road, the Indians are going home for their first homestand of the year. It's going to be a long one. They have 4 against New York and 3 against the White Sox, and then 3 against Boston. And they're a little concerned about the weather in that New York series.
Yeah, they're calling for rain just about every day at a pretty high percentage. Chance they're going to have some delays for sure.
Switcher out on strikes. Well, they have no common off days with the Yankees for the entire rest of the season. Go figure. Sports is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Checkers. Feast on. Sam Poles set to lead off for the Rays in the bottom of the 6th. Masterson still out there. Zobrist will be next. Sam, a couple of ground balls in this game. He is 0 for 2.
One guy right there. Hot start to the season, Ben Zobrist. Both sides to the plate.
Chop right side. And Masterson covers, taking the throw from Aviles. So a chopping ground ball, one away.
Number 18,
It's 13-0 Boston now. They've added 3 in the 8th inning. Ellsbury and Napoli have homered. And Middlebrooks, who made a bid for his 4th at a long, deep fly ball that was caught. So he's 3 home runs and a double. Zobrist takes that pitch for a strike. Talking about the other game that was a high run game for David Price. 1-1. It's Kyle Farnsworth up in the bullpen. David today giving up 8 runs, all earned. And prior to this, his high in earned runs, 7. He did give up 10 runs against the Phillies, but just 5 were earned. And on 2 occasions, he had allowed as many as 7 earned runs. 8 today. Zobrist out on strikes.
Well, as this game continues to move on, Justin Masterson getting better and better. Really a nice job today. And we talked about his sinker and his ability to get ground balls, but he's been very good with the slider, the sweeping slider, able to get Ben Zobrist for strike 3 on that pitch, but he's used it early in the count to get ahead, and at times later in the count to put guys away.
To strike to Longoria. Evan walked back in the first. The Rays loaded the bases with 2 outs in the first. And that's really been it in the scoring threat.
That right there crossed up Carlos Santana. That was another good sweeping slider.
A cross up, and Masterson still got a strike out of it.
Well, it was.
Ball, 2 strikes. Masterson in the mid-80s in pitch count. Pitched 6 innings in his win against Toronto. 28-year-old right-hander. The Rays head out to Texas. Jeremy Hellickson will open that series. Hellickson, Hernandez, and Moore scheduled to pitch for the Rays. Roller right side for Swisher. And again, covering is Masterson. The Rays are out 1-2-3. We head to the 7th, 8-0.
They lead the Rays 8-0. Well, announcing Burst Pass Gold, an exclusive membership program for Rays season ticket holders. Members get a 12% cash bonus for concessions and merchandise and earn rewards for using their card. So RaysBaseball.com/burst for more information.
Kyle Farnsworth, the new pitcher for the Rays, their 3rd of the day. Price for 5, Wright for 1, and now Kyle Farnsworth and a number of other defensive switches for the Rays as we enter the 7th inning. New look in the outfield, and half of the infield is different. Sean Rodriguez now in left. Sam Fold moves from right to center field, and Matt Joyce switches from left to right. Reynolds swinging and hitting one deep to left, and that one is out of here. Well, he got hold of that one and hit it deep into the seats. First pitch offered from Farnsworth, and Reynolds hits his 2nd home run to make it 9-0.
Well, that thing got all the way out to the facing of the 2nd deck. Now, Mark Reynolds, I'll tell you, with his swing, he's able to produce a tremendous amount of backspin, which gives you a ton of carry, and he was able to get out in front of that pitch and barrel it up nicely. That's where this thing ends up.
Santana swings through that pitch. 1 strike to count. Boy, Reynolds really gave it a ride. Off the facing of the upper deck and down into the seats below where the fan threw it back, but the damage had been done. Santana down the left field line toward the corner. That's fair. Sean Rodriguez plays the carom. Had a little trouble finding the handle on that, but it's a double all the way for Santana. So a home run and a double to greet Kyle Farnsworth.
Well, Santana was the beneficiary of some good placement. It was a fly ball down the left field line, and Sean Rodriguez was never going to be able to get there. That ball stayed fair. Kind of inside out, a little lazy fly ball, but you see how far Sean had to come from, and this thing lands just a couple feet fair.
Pitch high to Aviles. One and one. And a line drive into left. Aviles comes up with a base hit. Santana scores. Rodriguez had a little trouble finding the handle on that one, and there was not a lot of deception on that slider up. And Aviles lines it into left, chasing home the run.
Well, that ball was just kind of stayed flat and up and out over the plate. And Aviles, you can see by his swing, he jumped right on that pitch. Hit that ball hard out the left field. Maybe he'd score again.
So it's 10-0. Chisenhall, who had a 3-run home run in the 5th inning, lines it to second, and a quick snap back to first to get the double play. Kelly Johnson to Loney. Johnson, who started the day at DH, just in to play defense at second base, and he turns that 4-3 double play off the line drive.
Well, you know, that was another pitch there by Farnsworth. This is a fastball out over the plate, line drive right here, boom. Catch him off the bag. A nice heads up play there by Loney. Johnson to get the turn. It doesn't look like right now the ball coming out of Kyle's hand a whole lot of authority.
Bruce Stubbs hits one deep to center field, and he makes the catch. That's full. A 2-run score. We go to the bottom of the 7th. 10-0 Cleveland. been all Cleveland here this afternoon, starting with a run in the second, 3 in the third, a big 4-run fifth, 2 more in the seventh. As the Rays coming to hit in the home half of the inning, facing Justin Masterson.
Now, just been one of those days. Not a very good one for David Price. You're not going to see that very often. Obviously, he's going to bounce back in a big way, but Cleveland has had a day.
And before the Rays hit here in the seventh inning, let's check in with Todd.
That disappointment for the K9 district as well. All these fans still hanging in there, but they wanted to see a little bit better effort from their favorite pitcher, David Price. But tomorrow, it'll be Jeremy Hellickson on the mound for the Rays. And before the game today, Hellickson was the recipient of the 2012 American League Gold Glove Award for pitchers. It was actually a shared vote with Jake Peavy, but there you see Hellickson before the game getting his Gold Glove. And Hellickson tomorrow, guys, will make that start against the Rangers in Texas. He'll have both sides of his family's grandparents in town from Des Moines, Iowa, to watch that one. And Jeremy said in his last start, after the Davis home run in the first inning, the 3-run home run, he was pleased with the fact that he stayed aggressive and still attacked. He said in the past, had I given up a 3-run home run in the first inning, I might have nibbled at that point. But he did not do that in his last start. Ended up giving up the 5 runs, which was not really emblematic of how he pitched. I thought he pitched much better than his numbers, but he gets to start tomorrow against the Rangers. Back to you.
All right, leading off, James Loney in the bottom of the seventh. 1 strike here.
You know, and that's just a little peek into the mindset of Jeremy Hellickson. It's all part of that maturation process of these Rays young starters. You got to remember, David Price is still learning. I mean, this is not like a 10-year veteran. He's still learning. And then you got Jeremy Hellickson, Matt Moore, Alex Cobb, and all of these guys continuing to mature and looking to take that next step. A good sign there by Jeremy. And you're right, the line was not nearly as indicative as how he pitched, kept his team in the ball game, gave him a chance to get back into it.
The chopper over the mound to second. Loney is retired for the second time in this game after walking his first time up. Get Escobar to the plate. Escobar, a couple of strikeouts today, 0 for 2. Justin Masterson, the top of the Cleveland rotation. Big cut on the sweeping slider. Coming into this series, Scott Kazmir was scheduled to pitch last night, but because of the little injury to him, ribcage injury, we saw Trevor Bauer instead. Bauer's headed back to the minor leagues for Cleveland, and Carlos Carrasco is back with his Cleveland club. He threw a bullpen yesterday, and he'll get his first start, it would appear, on that next homestand. He's been out because of a suspension. Suspension occurred, normally would have been taken care of in 2011, but he had elbow reconstruction surgery, and so he was ineligible to be suspended during his recovery.
Well, then you're finally healthy.
Yeah, now you're healthy, and now we'll.
You just went through an 18-month rehab, gotten yourself back and ready to go, and oh, by the way, this is the first couple of out.
Yeah, just in case you're trying to avoid this suspension by having Tommy John surgery, we're going to make sure that everything's on the up and up here. Ground ball handled by Aviles. Joyce is out. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Rays haven't had a base runner since Zobrist's base hit with 2 outs in the third. get a hit in the 8th inning, and we're going to check in with Kelly once again. Kelly?
Back to our Twitter poll, guys. I got some responses. Of course, you know I want more. I want to know your impression of the Rays 6 games in. Maybe, not so much on this game, but previous 5 games. Let me know what you think. Our question is, what are your initial impressions of the Rays this season? Tweet me #TB1 for more optimistic than opening day, #TB2 for same as opening day, or #TB3 for more concerned than opening day. Of course, at Sun Sports Rays.
And as we go to the 8th inning, Brandon Gomes takes over on the mound. Farnsworth pitched 1 inning, gave up a couple runs, and here's Bourne going after the first pitch and hitting it deep into right center, and that's going to get out of here. Well, Bourne turns around a fastball on the first pitch here in the 8th. And the Indians tack on yet another run. Reynolds greeted Farnsworth with a home run in the 7th, and now Gomes greeted by Michael Bourne with a long one to right center.
Now, Michael Bourne, 9 home runs last year, quick hands, and he ambushes Brandon Gomes. That ball right out over the plate.
Here's Cabrera. Strike 1. Cabrera walked and scored in the 3rd. He's 0 for 3. Sit down the left side, the bullpen area, and out of play. Ryan Roberts tracking it down over there. Rays have Roberts at 3rd, Escobar at short. And on the right side, Kelly Johnson 2nd and Loney at 1st. Cabrera is out on strikes. Well, we've had quite a reversal here today in these pitchers. Price started the day and made 6 career starts against the Indians. 5-0 with a 164, touched for 8 runs in 5 innings. And Justin Masterson, who had struggled mightily against the Rays in his career, has had everything seemingly on automatic pilot. He was 1-7 lifetime, 1-6 as a starter, with a lifetime ERA of 7.74. This is Loney. Rayburn is retired, 2 outs.
Precisely the reason why you play the games.
Yep.
Well, you looked at this matchup on paper, decided advantage Rays, and the score dictates otherwise.
The Rays have been outscored 11-0 and out-hit 14-2.
Well, Masterson has been masterful after he was able to get out of that first inning. Really, the slider, as soon as that came into play and he was able to throw that early in the count for strikes and take it out of the zone when he wanted. Fastball command tightened up to both sides of the plate and has really just kept this Rays offense off balance.
Both hits belong to Zobrist. A 1-1 count to Swisher. In Swisher's spot, the cleanup position, the only man not to reach base in this game for Cleveland.
Well, that's one thing that Nick Swisher, that's going to be different for him this year, as in past years when he would sometimes hide out in that Yankees lineup a little bit further down. Right now, he's going to be right in the middle and the focus of this Indians lineup. He's going to get pitched differently. you would go in to face the Yankees, and when they were going good, you were worried about, Jeter, Cano, Granderson, Teixeira, Alex Rodriguez, and then, oh, by the way, Swisher kind of lurking in the shadows, putting up his numbers. Now he has become one of the big guns. He's become the guy in the Indians lineup that your pitching coach says, Nick Swisher's not going to beat us. Big difference. I will say this on his behalf, anybody who, he's got the personality to want to be out there in the open. He's not going to shy away from being the marked man now in this lineup. He relishes those moments. We'll see how it plays out.
And a big cut and a miss. Gomes strikes him out on a fastball. A run on the BOURN home run. Bottom of the 8th coming, 11-0.
As we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning, we have changed our set location this year for our pregame and postgame shows. Some people were asking via social media and Twitter, where is that location? We're actually behind section 139, right down the left field line. This is our set right here. And Mark Reynolds' home run not too far from where we set up here. It hit that facade leading to the upper deck. We're going to have our Rays Live postgame show, guys, presented by Checkers right after this one. And we will have sound from the clubhouse, including Joe Madden as Kelly Nash gathers interviews. We will show you a preview of the Texas Rangers series with the Rays going into town. And also, we're going to have the Major League debut of a kid out of Alonzo High School today, a 20-year-old who pitched for the Marlins and had an impressive debut. Hope you didn't pay attention to the pregame show because, as Dwayne said, we mentioned that Masterson struggles here at the Trop, and David Price usually does very well against the Indians, so hope you didn't listen to any of that. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and if you did, you can't take it seriously. The facts are what the facts were, and these facts, unfortunately for the Rays, are what they are. Lobatone facing Joe Smith has fouled it back. Count is 2-2. Smith has been an important part of the Cleveland bullpen. He's been good out of the pen for them. And he gets a call, third strike on Lobatone.
And you can see why. A couple of different pitches he can throw for strikes. Comes from that tough angle. And able to sweep that breaking ball right to the back door on Lobatone.
Well, he's in there in relief of Masterson, who made 97 pitches, 7 innings, 2-hit baseball.
And you get down at the back end of that Indians bullpen with Smith and Pistano and going into Chris Perez. Those three righties can be extremely nasty. Tough arm angles.
2-0 the count to Kelly. 8 strikeouts, 3 walks for Masterson today. 97 pitches in 7 innings. He retired the last 13 men he faced. Rolled foul. Fernando Rodney is down there working in the Rays bullpen. It's been Price, Wright, Farnsworth, Gomes, and really Rodney's in need of throwing a few pitches in a game. Fly ball, not too deep to right. Stubbs makes the catch. 15 in a row retired. Rodney pitched Wednesday, the 3rd, when the Orioles scored a run off him, and then he wound up getting the win when the Rays won it on Matt Joyce and his walk-off home run.
It's that fine line of wanting to keep Rodney sharp without overusing him. You know, remember he started getting ready for spring training, went to the WBC and pitched in just about every game that the Dominican played in. And then all of a sudden when he came back, Joe gave him a little bit of a breather, let his feet get back from underneath him. Tune him up here as the season started in just the 1 game.
Ryan Roberts getting it at bat. The ground ball, base hit past Cabrera. Roberts came in the 7th at third base, and he's hitting out of the top spot in the Rays order. And after 15 in a row had been retired, Roberts singles.
Well, tweet up at the Trop on Tuesday, May 7th and participate in exclusive contests for autographed baseballs, Rays tickets, and even a chance to throw out the first pitch. Order these special tickets by April 21st to receive a Rays Tweet Up t-shirt with your Twitter handle.
Sam Fole takes the pitch inside.
At BJA Awesome 19.
Ball bounds to the backstop. Roberts makes a turn but hangs on there.
It's got to be my new account.
That's it?
I think so.
Yeah, sure.
You know it's taken. I think my comments are better left coming from the booth. For everybody.
Well, I don't know.
Let's see.
Open a whole new frontier.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Open a can of something. Boston has beaten Toronto 13-0.
Well, whatever it is, it's going to start with a W.
Stubbs makes the catch, and the Rays are out in the 8th. We go to the 9th, 11-0 Cleveland. Sun Sports is brought to you by the Hyundai Let's Go sales event through April 30th. Just for Men, Auto Stop is foolproof. Gray is over. And by Chevrolet. See your local Tampa Chevy dealer. Indians have dominated this game. Opened the scoring with a run in the second, 3 in the third, 4 in the fifth, 2 in the seventh, and 1 in the eighth. And Fernando Rodney will get some work now. Rodney is pitcher number 5. Mark Reynolds, a couple of home runs and a walk today. 4 runs batted in. The pitch is a strike. Price gave up 2 home runs. Farnsworth 1, Gomes 1. One and one. Tigers batting in the bottom of the 8th, trailing the Yankees 5-0. CC Sabathia worked the front 7 for the Yankees and gave up 4 hits. Two and one. Twins have taken the lead on Baltimore in the top of the 8th. It's a 4-3 game now in Baltimore. The start of the day, the Orioles, the Red Sox, and the Rays all in with a record of 3-2. Blue Jays started the day 2-3, and the Yankees 1-4. This one sky deep to right. Joyce back, and that's going to be off the wall. He'll play the carom barehanded, and into second base is Mark Reynolds with a 2-base hit. His 3rd hit.
Now, the one thing about Mark Reynolds, and we talked about it early in this series, is he is extremely streaky. He can carry a team for a while, and we've seen him come alive today. A couple of home runs, and now going the other way on mislocation. Want that ball in, it stays middle. And again, tremendous carry and off the wall out there in right center field.
A leadoff double. Carlos Santana. One strike to Santana. The Indians have put the leadoff man on base in 7 of the 9 innings in this game. That after being completely shut down in the first 2 games of the series. Headed toward the corner and right, and that ball is a fair ball and a home run. Right down the line and fair. Carlos Santana hits a 2-run home run.
Well, I didn't think that he was going to be able to keep that fair. A little change of pace there from Fernando Rodney, and Santana was out in front with a long swing. Here it is. Look at this wrap right around the pole.
A 2-run home run. And the Indians continue to pour it on. 16 hits. And it's 13-0 Cleveland.
That's
Wheelies with a 1-1 count.
That's the interesting thing about this lineup. It just goes to show you how good Rays pitching was the last couple of days, because this lineup, as it's configured, and we looked at it coming into the series, there's a lot of potential for damage all the way through this lineup. Number of switch hitters. They brought in some veterans that have had a good amount of success, in BOURN and Swisher. Mike Aviles comes over as a role player here.
And they've done this without Swisher so much as getting on base. He's 0 for 5 with a couple strikeouts.
Now Chisenhall's been impressive.
Yeah, we saw him last night, had a base hit, and was impressive with his swing. Fly ball to center. Sam Fole takes care of that, one away.
Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Tampa Bay Rays. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays.
The Indians had hit 4 home runs in 5 games coming into this game today, and they've hit 5 home runs today, including the 3-run home run by Chisenhall in the 5th inning. And it's a strike to Chisenhall. Ramos is up in the Rays bullpen. 1-1. The idea with Rodney was to get him a little work, but not to get him overextended here going into the Texas series and that long road trip. This one headed toward the gap in left center field. Chisenhall on his way to second. Bold makes the pickup. It's the second double of the inning for the Indians.
As this game has moved along, this Indians lineup just continues the confidence. The way they're swinging the bat, comfortable in the box. We just talked about Chisenhall, and up here, best closers in the game. Shoots his ball the other way. How about that? Taking that ball that's away from him into left center field gap and then able to turn on the power fastball of David Price earlier in the game for the home run to right.
Yeah, those would be very encouraging signs for the Indians out of this young man. Stubbs takes a strike. Two. Rodney facing his 5th hitter in this inning.
And you would figure that this probably will be it for Fernando Rodney. You don't want to overextend him. Get that pitch kind of mid-20s, close to 30.
20th pitch right here.
Yeah, there you go. You got the lefty on deck and Ramos warming up. You have to figure this is his last hitter. May need him again tomorrow.
Two and two. This one of those situations where so many closers just can't get into the moment to enter a lopsided game when they need a little work. Tough to do.
You see it all the time. I mean, across the board, non-save situations, the numbers are always, well, I shouldn't say always, but many times they're much worse.
And he strikes out Stubbs. And with the strikeout, Joe Madden pops out of the dugout. To Rodney, just over 20 pitches. He gets a couple outs, and we'll see the left-hander Cesar Ramos when we return. Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Rays will be headed to Texas to start their 10-game road trip. Jeremy Hellickson will open that series tomorrow against Alexi Ogando. Hernandez and Moore pitchers in games 2 and 3. Cesar Ramos takes over on the mound for the Rays, and the pitch is a strike. Fourth appearance for Ramos. One and one. BOURN doubled in the first and hit the home run in the 8th. In this game, a complete reversal of the first two. With Cleveland scoring 13 runs on 17 hits. 1 and 2.
Oh, good thing it only counts for what looks like one loss. Yep. Right. Still win the series. It's the team's stated goal each and every time they roll into a new city or a new team comes in here, win the series. Done that.
A high chop. Johnson at second with the flip to first, getting BOURN. 2 runs cross the plate. 13-0 Cleveland. It's 13-0. The Indians lead the Rays. Our Toyota trend. Well, that trend for Justin Masterson came to an end today.
Reversing of the trend. I mean, Justin Masterson came in with horrid numbers against the Rays, but he was absolutely dominant today. 7 strong innings, just the 2 hits. Really had everything working. That slider, I thought, took him to the next level in today's ball game. Once he was starting to throw that pitch and locate it, was able to backdoor it against the lefties, sweep it away from the righties. Tough day for the Rays offense.
Sean Rodriguez, getting out of the 3rd spot, will face Vinny Pastano. Pastano, the 3rd Cleveland pitcher. 1 strike to count to Sean.
You can see the deception in Pastano's delivery.
Shelley Duncan on deck.
Kind of slings that ball up there. Low 3/4 arm angle.
And he throws it by Sean Rodriguez to strike him out.
That's where the deception comes in. You know, he's got that lower arm angle and he's able to shoot the top of the zone. Very deceptive, that ball riding up. And here it is. Just can't get on top of it.
Shelley Duncan hits for Ramos. Pitcher's spot. Number 4 spot in the order. Duncan behind Pastano. Soft hooper. There's a base hit into center field. Well, Terry Francona trying to get a little work for his bullpen here. Pastano, normally the 8th inning guy for them, and he's been very good. Due to go home to play the Yankees, but the weather forecast there is not very good. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. James Loney. One ball, no strikes. One ball, 1 strike. Loney walked his first time up. The Rays today with just the 4 hits, 2 off Masterson, 1 off Smith, and now 1 off Pastano, and 3 walks. So not a lot of offense for the Rays. Of their hits singles, and Loney breaks his bat.
Well, that's all directly attributed to the Indians pitching and the guys that they brought in. You know, with Joe Smith at the low arm angle here, Pastano, and of course with Masterson being a guy that keeps the ball on the ground a lot. Shows you that they were on top of their game, not only the final line, but the fact that all the hits are singles. It means the ball's down, you're not getting pitches that are elevated and able to shoot the gaps. Station to station baseball.
And it's a 2-2 count. Rays trailing Cleveland 13-0. Boston beat Toronto 13-0 today. And And strike 3 call. Pitch started off the plate. The slider broke over.
Boy, that's filthy. That's an absolutely filthy pitch because this ball out of Pistano's hand is well off the plate. But watch how sharply it breaks back. I mean, as a hitter, you just, what are you going to do with that?
Miguel Escobar facing Pistano. The pitch is foul back. Escobar struck out swinging in the first. Struck out swinging in the fourth, and he struck out swinging in the seventh. Pitch down into second base. Goes Duncan. Indifference. Wide and over to third goes Duncan. That pitch away from Santana, yanked a bit. So we'll move to second on indifference. The wild pitch moves him over to third. Shelley Duncan there. First time the Rays have had a man at third base since the first. Big swing, and the count goes to 2-2. The count goes all the way out. 3-2. And that is ball 4. Escobar draws the walk. And Matt Joyce will get an at bat.
Watch this check swing right here, and then just because it's so close, Escobar gets rid of that bat in a hurry. Rid of the evidence. Down to first base.
Joyce 0 for 3. It's inside. Pistano misses again. 2-0. That's inside now. So after the walk, 3 straight pitches out of the zone to Joyce. And ball 4. So the bases are loaded. It's 20 pitches for Pistano. Bases will be loaded with Jose Lobaton due up. So with 2 outs in the ninth, the Rays had the bases loaded. A base hit, a couple of bases on balls. slider is in there for a strike. Inside, came back and missed with the fastball. Ball, 2 strikes here with Lobaton taking a big cut at the slider, and that pitch darting down and in. He missed it by plenty.
Lobaton, one of those players the Rays are going to count on all season long. Basically going to be splitting time with Molina.
Back to the hill. Scano throws to first, and this game is over. Well, the Rays started the day by leaving the bases loaded in the first. They ended by leaving the bases loaded in the ninth. And they have been shut out on 4 hits. It's a 13-0 final. So the Rays, who had shut out the Indians twice, taking games 1 and 2, dropped this one, shut out 13-0. With you tomorrow against the Texas Rangers from Arlington, Texas. Our coverage begins at 7:30. For Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and Kelly Nash, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast and not the outcome. We'll see you next on Rays Live, the postgame. Coming up next, all presented by Checkers.